Hello, and welcome back to the Talk Pickle To Me podcast. I'm your host, Pickleball Chick, aka Kaitlyn Kerr, and we are currently in the series of the 10 most influential women in pickleball. In our 7th episode today, we have my favorite pro pickleball player, the one and only Anna Bright. Bright Nation, rise up!
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, rocking and rolling. I just came from playing. I am disgustingly sweaty. All good though?
How does your hair look like that?
I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I saw you just got a haircut. I just got a haircut. I got this done on Saturday, and it was my first time since high school of getting proper layers in. So I have the really the short pieces, the face frame, for the first time, literally since high school, and I really like it.
It feels do you feel like a new human? When I get these haircuts, I'm like, oh my God, it feels like the best thing ever.
It does feel amazing. Usually I'm not too happy when I get, okay.
Yes.
I don't know if we should include this. This is kind of a funny bit of Anna lore, but I cut my own hair from about being 17 up until June of 2024. Rachel finally convinced me to actually go and get my hair cut. So I was cutting my own hair. So this is only my second time getting a haircut in a long time. It's a little bit of lore. I'd cut my own hair.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. Just it was convenient. I would just get the urge and I would just hack it straight across. It wasn't even something I would try to do well. I would just do it. Because I kind of liked the look of it all not being, because I would do it one length and I didn't like the look of it being super blunt, oh, she just got it all. But when you do it yourself like that, it's not perfect. So it would kind of end up a little messy. But yeah, so as of June of 2024, I got a haircut in San Clemente, California. And then I got my second haircut Saturday in Boca Raton.
You are a rich man now. You can afford beautiful haircuts.
I've been able to afford haircuts. I don't know.
You think overachieving.
Not that expensive.
Actually, mine was. I was shocked. Mine was $90.
Well, this one was 90. This one was pricey, but they said, come 4 months. I'll probably come every 6 months.
Yeah, same. Exactly. So. We're so excited to have you. To get a little bit into who Anna is, if you don't know, which means you probably live under a rock, Anna was the number 2 tennis recruit in the nation coming out of high school. She graduated early from high school and became a tennis star at the University of Cal Berkeley, where she double majored in business admin and data science. Arguably my favorite fact about Anna, after college, Anna went on to complete the Pacific Crest Trail solo, a 2,654-mile trail that runs from Canada to Mexico. Not long after, Anna Bright found pickleball, and the rest is history. She became a pro player, had a quick stint at Duper, the rating system, and has since become one of the top females in the sport. Currently ranked number 3 overall in women's doubles and mixed doubles. She should be higher. In a land of sheep, Anna is a lion. Anna Bright, talk pickle to me.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good intro. Thank you.
No, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for being here today. Before we get started, I just wanted to take the time to thank everyone that is here today, watching or listening to this. It has truly been so much fun to release episodes every week with the most influential women in pickleball. So if you could please take a second and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, leave us 5 stars, and please make sure you follow us on Instagram at Talk Pickle To Me. Also, if there's anything you think we could change to make the viewing or listening experience better for you, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. So for people that have been following Anna and I, or both of us, for a long time, back in 2022, I was doing pro player interviews on Instagram Live, and Anna was absolutely one of my favorites for a host of reasons, mainly because she is super smart and hilarious. So you guys are all in for a major treat today. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. So to start, let's talk about baby Anna. You are a daughter of Lipping, a Chinese immigrant, and the oldest of 3 daughters. What was family life like growing up?
Yes, so my mom is from China and my dad is from Tennessee. His family's been here for generations. I'm the oldest. I definitely feel like I'm pretty oldest sister coded, kind of in and just how I act and like how I am. My childhood was very dominated by tennis, and we were pretty sheltered. Just kind of didn't hang out with other kids too much, so I definitely had kind of that awkward phase. I was homeschooled in middle school, and I was so awkward. It's funny. I was doing online school, and I literally thought I was stupid. Like I remember crying over Algebra 1, and I just thought I was like a dumb kid. Just kind of funny. And then I went back into public school, and it was really good for me because I dealt with some pretty bad injuries. Like people don't realize kind of the toll like intense junior tennis takes on like kids, and like with soccer, like to be really good, it's a very high level of dedication. I had like back fracture at 12 years old, and then you're out and you're losing. And so I went back into public school, and that was like really good for me. I kind of started liking tennis again, and got the awkwardness out of my system. Not all of it. I think I got rid of a lot of the awkwardness kind of after the PCT. I think that's when I really kind of like found myself and kind of figured things out. To an extent, it's always like a learning process, but I think going back into public school is great. I don't really know where I'm going with this. Yeah, my sisters are doing really well. They're not that little anymore, which is I think kind of an experience a lot of people have when they have younger siblings. You're getting older, but you forget that they're getting older too. And now it's like, oh my gosh, they're 22 and 20. They're really not that little.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about my childhood.
Obviously, you're very smart. Are your parents super intelligent? Are your parents hilarious? Where does that come from?
Well, my mother is definitely hilarious, mostly unintentionally. I think that honestly, I swear, half of my fan interactions, especially in the Florida area, but just in general, people be like, oh my God, like my mom is everywhere. She comes to like half the trip. She's like, oh my God, I met your mom. Like people come up to me like, I know your mom. Like I bought from your mom. I'm like, oh, great. Like, and it's really sweet. Like I'm always happy to hear it, but it's kind of funny. Like they think that they're like special, I guess, for having interacted with my mother. But it's like my mom would interact with a brick wall and try to sell to a brick wall. So it's like, it's really like not very special. It's not something unique that I don't hear often. It's kind of funny. So my mom is super, super funny. I do think I get some personality traits from her. My dad is more quiet. They're both like really, really smart. My mom is actually like brilliant. And I think it's kind of sad that I don't know her in her native language because I don't speak Chinese. It's something that I am working on. Because I could speak at a decent level when I was like a kid, like, like 5 years old or something, like not fluent, but decent level. And obviously that would be pretty good for me just from a business perspective. But I do think it's sad that I don't know her in her native language. Like people who are kind of familiar with, like China has like the Gaokao, like their equivalent of the SAT. And I think she got like the highest score in her county or something. And it was very tough to come to America for her, like single woman. She graduated from university the same year as Tiananmen Square. So it was very tough to come to America. And she like obviously crushed it and worked really hard and was able to come to America. She told them she, didn't want to get wifed up. She just wanted to get her education. But of course she came to get that green card. And I think her and my dad dated for 6 months and they're still together somehow. And she got her green card. She got her citizenship, and she's, go Liping. She's a legend.
Love her. I think she is a beloved figure in the pickleball world.
Definitely is.
At the Yola event in Florida, she was like the biggest hit. She was at first of all, she participated in every single clinic.
Yeah, you're only supposed to participate in like half of them. But for those who don't know how the clinics work, like there's two groups of people, you're separated, and there's like separate pros. And Liping is there at open play before the clinic starts. She does every single session. She does like the open play after. Like she doesn't get tired. She's a grinder. She grinds harder than me.
You definitely get a lot of your traits from her. You've called yourself a chronic overachiever. You graduated a year early from high school and went to play tennis at UC Berkeley.
Can I just plug myself here?
Yes.
I was valedictorian.
Actually,
no big deal.
You told me in the last interview that you were fighting with like an ex-boyfriend and then you were so happy. You didn't clarify you got that over him?
Yeah, I got it. So I was valedictorian of my class. This is kind of like an asterisk. Like for the class graduating in 2018, I passed him to be number one in the class of 2018, but I graduated in 2017. So I graduated number 3 in that class, which was kind of crazy because I had a whole less year than them.
Wow.
So I'm just going to plug myself. Why not?
That is a life resume thing for sure.
Why not?
So you graduate valedictorian a year early. What was college life like for you? Going from being homeschooled to public school, valedictorian, now you're in a big college, a really good academic, also playing D1 tennis. What was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely super, super humbling, I think, going to those big universities where there's, some of the best and brightest. And my first year really wasn't too tough academically. Like I was kind of taking a lot of like breath classes, didn't know what I was going to major in because I was kind of thrown in to like college early. Like I wasn't like I was ready and everything in a lot of ways, but I also hadn't really thought deeply about kind of what I wanted to do and kind of what I wanted to major in. And you definitely like they want you to like start slow. And tennis was good. I was playing well. I didn't have like aspirations to go pro. It's kind of something I always knew going into college. I think almost all the men, they all think they want to go pro. I think with women, it's kind of more 50-50. Some women like do really want to go professional and others kind of know that it's, they're going to enjoy it. It's going to be a good 4 years, sometimes 5. But I was kind of the vein that I knew that going pro wasn't going to be for me. So tennis was not my end all be all. I definitely wasn't like a fun kid in college. I got drunk like 3 times. Like I was really boring in that way. But sophomore year was like when things really ramped up for me academically. Like I decided I wanted to double major in data science. And that was so humbling. Like I'm going to school in the Bay Area and I'm in like this computer science class and hard stats classes. And like, it's like, wow, like I'm just not on the level of some of these people. And it's when you kind of realize that I do think like, you can work hard and you can figure things out, but it's kind of like there are like levels to an extent. Like there are really levels. And I don't think that until you've kind of been in some of those kind of classes or those environments, it's like, whoa. And like like in high school, like I was a level above like some people, not that hard work can't overcome it, but it's like these very hard like concepts and other people get it. And I'm just like, huh? So it was definitely humbling, but I had a really good time in college. I love Berkeley. I love being there. I just feel really like at peace when I'm in the Berkeley area. San Francisco is not my favorite, but I love Berkeley. I really love being in the area. It's so cute. It's a really unique place. And I had a ton of fun there. I really had a great time. And I kind of was in college during COVID. So COVID happened. So I had about a year and a half of online classes, which kind of had its pluses and minuses, but so I didn't have the full experience and I could have actually stayed in on a 5th year with eligibility and done another year of tennis. And my coaches did really want me to, but I was just very ready to move on. I knew I was going to do the PCT and I just kind of was ready for life kind of after tennis. It's something I say that I wasn't looking forward to it. I wasn't dreading it. It just kind of feels like when you're in a book and you're probably getting close to the end of a chapter and you're not like excited to finish the chapter. You're not dreading it either. There's another chapter after it. But I just knew that my chapter was kind of closing with tennis being a big part of my life.
Well, that's beautifully said, number one. Number two, I feel you. And I think it's something that you can relate back to pickleball. It's like when you said there's levels to the different types of like academia and people's brains. I felt that at Duke too. Like I was in med school. I was thinking about being a physical therapist and like went into med school classes at first. I was like, holy shit. Like I was very smart in high school. I was very smart going there. And then you go to that next level. And I was like, whoa. It's
like, I got to fight to be average here. Like this is tough, and it's not that hard work can't overcome it, but there really are just levels and it's a humbling and kind of a cool experience.
Yes, for sure. I mean, D1 sport is basically a job too. So you don't have as much time. I don't know what regular students do with all of their time.
I know, right? It's something you really think about because I still feel like I wasted time.
Yeah.
Like less than other people, but it's like, I don't know what people do.
Yeah. The NARPs, I don't understand. But okay. So in our previous interview, you said that life was pretty easy growing up. You wanted to challenge yourself and you wanted to do hard things. So after college graduation, you went on to complete the Pacific Crest Trail, hiking over 2,600 miles solo. What was the motivation behind completing such an adventure, and just talk about the experience?
Yeah, so kind of like I said in the previous interview, the large motivation, I think during the COVID time, like everyone's home and I think a lot of people had a lot of time to reflect, and I kind of decided that I wanted to do something kind of beyond the typical mold. I kind of felt like my whole life, like the next step had been pretty obvious, like it is for, you know, a lot of people when they're younger, you know, like you go to, you know, you finish high school, you go to college, then you get a job or whatever. But for me, I just felt like it had kind of been a little bit on easy mode to an extent because of tennis. Just like I was going to go D1 to a good school. It was just kind of like which school I was going to have like a full ride scholarship. It's just like, where am I going to go? Like, what am I going to major in? And then kind of, I had everything. I had done the internship. So I was ready to get, you know, a decent job after college, but I just kind of felt like everything had been a little easy and I wanted to just having to break the mold to really challenge myself and just to kind of, I don't know about prove to myself I could do like something hard, but kind of that was kind of the sentiment also. And so in that time during COVID, like I did I did a few things that I was really proud of and kind of, and also like my parents weren't very into outdoorsy things. So I didn't have much experience. Like a lot of people ask like, have you done this? Have you done that? And I'll be like, no, like I've never gone skiing. I've never done like water sports. Like there's a lot of things I have not done.
Wow.
And like hiking and dabbling, and that was one of them. So my best friend Sophia and I am actually at her house. Like we went backpacking in the Smokies, and we did like a 4-day, like 23 mile trip. And it's in the Smoky Mountains, so it is tough hiking, but we thought we were so sick, like going like 6 or 7 miles a day. Like we thought we were like hardcore, like sick, you know? And for a first time experience like that is sick, you know, but it's just kind of cute to think back on, and everything. And so we did that. And then I did a 50K trail run at Zion, actually the same place, like the same city as where the Red Rock tournament is. So it's
Love
it's kind of funny now to whenever I go back, and it's funny actually. I'm not playing Red Rock this year, but that race coincides with the tournament this year actually. So I was thinking about going and just not playing women's doubles and doing like the 60K or something. But then I was like, what if I like do well in mix? I was like, that's not bad. But then Yola has a trip to Asia playing that week. So I didn't have to make that decision. Wow. But, and then I also did like to kind of prove to myself I could do the PCT. I knew I needed to be able to endure a little misery and kind of prove to myself that I could. So Florida has like pretty close to my house, like a 62-mile trail, and it's flat. So it's not too hard. And then it's flat. But at the time of year I did it, like in December, it was watery. Like I walked through like 42 miles of water, and it was so miserable. And I did it. It was tough. I actually finished on Christmas Day, and I was so emotionally drained that I think I was vegan at the time, and my little sister had finished all my vegan butter when I got home, and I cried about it. Like I was so emotionally drained, but I got through it. And so then I was like, okay, I can do the PCT, because with my start date being late because of NCAA's, I had to be able to like move pretty fast, like 20 miles a day from the jump, with like how water sources work out. There's a lot of nitty gritty to it. But yeah, I just wanted to do something hard. I wanted to challenge myself. I definitely did not love hiking as much as most people on the trail. And that came with some extra challenges. Like I think I faced burnout earlier to an extent. A lot of people do deal with a sense of burnout, and like a lot of people were like really sad about finishing, and that's great. Like I'm happy for them. Like that's awesome that they, you know, loved it so much and they were sad. I did have a great time, but I was like, get me off this fucking trail. I was actually in a terrible mood on the last day for like the first half of the day, because I was so annoyed, because how it works with it being like kind of still COVID restrictions to an extent. It's like normally you finish the trail at the Canadian border and you can go 5 more miles into Canada, and then you can get out from there. You can kind of find civilization. But the way it worked, because of COVID, Canada would not let you cross into the border. So you got to the Canadian border, and you have to, you hike 30 miles to the Canadian border, you have to come back out 30 miles. So I was in a rotten mood that I was going to finish and not be done. I was in a terrible mood. I was such a Debbie Downer that day. But once I got close to the finish, like I was happy. And then, you know, you have to turn around and do 30 more miles. But it was funny. I was actually in such a rotten mood the last day, because I was like, I have to do 30 more fucking miles. Like, I'm not even done. Like, this is so BS. So it was fun. It was a good time. It feels like a different life, like a different person kind of who did that. That's what my tattoo is about. I get asked a lot about my tattoo. It's the symbol of the trail. Yeah.
Your tattoo, for anyone that doesn't know, I think it's on your thigh.
Yeah, I'll show it. It's a little baby tree.
I love it.
Little baby tree.
Such a good reminder of it, because that is, I don't know, that's just such an amazing life experience. And when you get older like me, time starts to dwindle. Like you don't have that ability to have 3-month blocks to just do it.
Yeah, it was a convenient time in life at everything. I think I've generally been a very, very lucky person. Not that, hard work doesn't lend itself to luck, but I definitely acknowledge that I am a very lucky person. So everything worked out really well for me.
Yeah. Okay, so after PCT, you find pickleball, and it was pretty soon after, and it seemed like you kind of just dove headfirst into it. What about pickleball made you so addicted or so obsessed so quick?
I have a bit of an addictive personality. I definitely do kind of tend to if I really like something, I definitely do kind of lock in pretty hard, and I can commit pretty easily. And pickleball was just so fun. I wasn't wanting to find it. My dad had been telling me for a while. My dad had been playing like twice a week, for a while, like while I was on the trail and kind of some of my senior year of college. And he was telling me like, you should really try this. Like, I think you'd be even better at it than tennis. Like, I think it suits you better. And I was just like, yeah, like I wasn't opposed to it, but it just wasn't something I was thinking about. So I got home and I had a job that did not start until January 1st or January 3rd or something.
What year is
and
this, by the way? This is
This is 2021. This is 2021. So I finished the trail in like mid-September and I start playing pickleball in mid-October, but I don't have a job until January 3rd. So I had like 2.5 months where I was just so addicted to pickleball. Like I had nothing else to do. I had like I was saying, like I was very lucky with timing and everything, and I just had nothing to do. And so I loved it. And I was also thinking like, how am I going to make friends? Like that's one reason why I decided to try it out. Because I think a lot of adults, like after college, you kind of have to seek out friendships if you're not living in a place where you already have friends, or, where, if you just stay in the community where you went to college or something. So I was kind of, I remember Googling like, how do you make friends as an adult? And pickleball just seemed like, besides, being something that I would enjoy, like that was one reason I was willing to give it a try, because it was growing in the area, not close to as big as it is now, but it was growing. Like I had to drive like 40 to 45 minutes to a place with like play that was like appropriate for my level to start to get like some 4 or 5 games. Like it wasn't, not like it was as easy as it is now, but still like there was a lot of good players. I could just pull up to a park. There'd be like 4 or 5 games for me. And I was just so addicted. Every single day I'd come home from playing at like 9 or 10 p.m. and I would just recap to my parents like how it all went, how I was figuring things out. And I was living at home because I was intending to, my job was based in Boston and I was intending to move to maybe Seattle. I like Seattle a lot. Maybe like back to Berkeley, but I got so hooked on pickleball that I stayed in Florida, and I couldn't leave actually. So I was living at home and I was just thinking about pickleball. I was falling asleep watching pickleball, watching it all the time. When I wasn't playing, I was playing like 6 hours a day. And then my job started, and obviously I couldn't play as much, but that's when I kind of got into playing with Georgia and J-Dub and Gabe Tardio and Millie Rain, which was kind of the top group at the time. And so that was obviously so huge for me, just really lucky with how everything worked out. And I just loved the community aspect of it. I was able to meet people, make friends, be social. And I've always loved competing. I think I am far more gifted as a competitor than I ever was as a true tennis player. I would not, I think of like elite, quote unquote, elite tennis players. I'm definitely a below average athlete. And I'm not trying to be like humble. Like I 100% think that like whenever I would do like, like speed tests or agility tests, like I'm always like one of the slower, like among other like good tennis players I've been around. And that's fine. I win my matches, but that's like, I just think that I have like other strengths. Like I compete really well, kind of make good decisions and have fast hands, and those things translate more to pickleball because the doubles game is less about raw athleticism. Like it just is. I think pickleball is kind of about consistency, good decision making, like having fast hands. And I think there's one more thing I say sometimes, but if like consistency, good decision making, good hands, and anticipation. Anticipation is the fourth. And those are things that were like the foundations of my tennis game. Like I didn't hit very hard, but I would kind of grind, do whatever it took to win. And I anticipated very well. I wasn't the fastest, but I was good at kind of reading things. And so that's why my dad thought it would really suit me. And I think it really does. And that's one reason why you don't see me on the singles court as much anymore. Like there are just better athletes and women who are more talented for singles than me. And that's why that I was kind of a really good tennis player on the bottom half of a college tennis lineup and not really suited to play like at the top half of a tennis lineup for anyone kind of familiar with how college tennis works. But yeah, I just loved it. It really suited my strengths, and I was able to learn fast, kind of copying people. I would watch pros play, and I would see someone do something I thought was cool, and I just like go back 10 seconds, watch it again, go back 10 seconds, watch it again, go back 10 seconds, watch it again. And yeah, I picked things up quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched you play for the first time at the New Jersey Open in Hamilton, New Jersey. And you were playing with Georgia Johnson at this time. And man, how have times changed? Like, you
Right.
have developed so much. I mean, back then it wasn't even a thing to have like a dirty backhand flick. I think I remember J-Dub was like the only person that had it at that time. Now your backhand flick has come so, I mean, you have one of the best in the women's game for sure. But, you know, talk about a little bit about what has changed from a pro player perspective since then.
Do you mean like the pro landscape?
Just like playing, like at that time, to me, pros were, they'd be drinking if they lost, like at the venue, and not saying that they don't now, but it's so much more professionalized in my opinion at this point. You really have to, like, not saying that you weren't working hard then. I know you put in a ton of hours drilling and whatever, but I just feel like there's a different level of pressure, a different level of understanding, a different level of sponsorship opportunities. The money that's come in has been so different. The media opportunities, like everything just feels way different than when I watched you play in 2022 at the APP near New Jersey.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely think the level of professionalism has increased. It feels less like kind of a mom and pop operation to an extent. And I think for one, that's like major kudos to the PPA tour and MLP as well. Like I kind of think it's kind of like if you build it, they will come. And that is to an extent what they have done and to an extent what they are doing. They're booking bigger venues, they're just banking, people will come. And I think it's I have like all these, I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. I don't know if the people listening can tell, but I think it's like in a Malcolm Gladwell book, and it's like they just to combat like crime in the city, and like they just like covered up all the graffiti, and like if you would do graffiti they would cover it up immediately, and it's like doing that made it feel like a place where you just don't commit crime. And it's like the PPA like putting on these very professional events that just kind of encourages everyone to kind of act in a more professional manner and take everything more seriously. And I think that applies to the pros, that applies to the kind of the sponsors and the people that are just generally being like attracted to the game, because like a lot of 2022 I played a lot of APPs at like just smaller parks, and like that was great. It was awesome, but playing at a place like that, like versus playing at like San Clemente at that venue, like it's gonna feel different. It's gonna feel more professional, and you're gonna kind of behave as such. And I think that kind of carries on to everything. It's also kind of like we're all influencing each other. And if I see that Federico Staksrud is working so hard, I'm not gonna want to get like outworked by him. I think he's one of the hardest workers in the game, and he probably does work harder than me. Like honestly, like he is. I'm always impressed with Federico, and I like him a lot. But I just think it's kind of like iron sharpens iron to an extent, and I think that it's something that as like a top pro, you see these people, like we have something to defend. You don't want these new people to come in and beat you, and especially right now with kids, I think kids are getting so good, and it's a major like concern. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to start losing. It's like I already lose to Anna Leigh enough, and Georgia too. Like I'm not trying to lose to someone younger than them, So it's kind of like that motivation to keep getting better. And when in 2022, like I didn't work as hard because improvement was so natural. It was so easy. I would just learn things naturally, but everyone reaches a point where improvement starts to plateau. And you have to work hard for those incremental improvements. And I definitely think that most of us are at that point.
Yeah. When I spoke with Julie Johnson, I talked about how I think a lot of professional pickleball players, I still believe are not really treating it like a professional sport. I'm not saying that's you. I think you are, but there are a lot that still aren't. But it's starting to change over. It will change in time in the next couple of years because the talent and the amount of people that are coming in is just endless. I know you're working out more, right? I see you that you're working out more. You're working with that pickleball.
So my pull up, no big deal. I literally did a chin up like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, man, maybe I'll get a pull up in like 2 months. And I did it in like a couple weeks, and I was texting Connor Derrickson, and he was like, I'm happy for you, but like this is effed up. Like you're getting such instant gratification. You should have to work harder for it. And I was like, you got it or you don't. Like,
Pull-ups for women are hard. Like back in my heyday, I could do like 7 to 10 when I was
that is so
at Duke.
good.
At Duke, now it's very hard for me to like. I'll get two, and then I'll wait minutes, and then I'll do two. But anyway, it's not easy. So I give you a lot of credit for taking that on because a lot of women wouldn't even want to do it. But are you taking your off-court training like a lot more seriously?
I am. It's largely like an injury prevention thing. Like I want to get stronger, and just because like my knees are sometimes a little iffy. They've just kind of been through a lot. I know you've had some problems there, and it's just I want to be playing this game for a while, and so kind of getting stronger, like pre-rehab stuff. And I've also just I think I've built enough momentum with it that I am really enjoying it too.
Yes.
Like I think I've kind of realized a lot. Honestly, like since my breakup, kind of the importance of like having momentum and like keeping it. And not that you can't have like a day when you don't do anything, like that's natural and normal, but like generally like building momentum and like continuing to kind of pile onto that. And so I think that, in the last couple months of 2024, like I started to kind of build that momentum for myself. And I've just really been kind of riding it since. And it's something I'm really proud of and that I definitely want to kind of continue. Definitely a big lesson. Like for me, like the importance of it.
I think it's good for your mental health and also just like you said, you're proud of yourself. When you are consistent
100%.
with things and when you show up when you don't want to, that's like one of the highest rated skills. Doing things that you don't want to, not because you're motivated, but because you're disciplined to do it is huge. So if you can work that skill at such a young age, I think that's awesome. But I do think that, you say you're not the best athlete, but I do think you can work on things like short movements, side to side, like
100%,
things
yeah.
like explosiveness, little things that can really help your game and keep it at that high level.
100%.
All right, so you and Rachel started the Girlies Pickleball Club. I love it so much. It is so fitting and so perfect. Look at the sweatshirt. They just dropped and they were sold out. I didn't even freaking...
In 5 hours. In 5 hours, they sold out.
I was like, oh, I'll get one later that night. And then like, it's already sold out. So I love the idea. What's kind of the thought behind it? What are the plans with it? Tell us all about the Girlies Pickleball Club.
Honestly, like for anyone listening, like thank you so much. If you purchased, if you even thought about it, if you even like know what it is, like that's really so cool. And so I don't really know exactly the direction. I'm thinking like I really want to work on kind of building out like more of a community based thing. And obviously it's going to be mostly women because it's the girlies, but we have like so many men who purchase. It's really sweet and heartwarming actually. Like we actually didn't order enough of the size double XL. How funny is that? We did not order enough double XL. The double XL sold out so fast. So to all the boys can be girlies too. I think we really want to like build out kind of a community is kind of more so the vision. That's why we wanted to, at first the sweatshirts didn't say club. And then we were like, we need to kind of add that. Like we want this to be like a thing. Like we don't want it to be just people who are like fans of Rachel and I and like nothing else. And that is obviously amazing and we're so thankful, but that's kind of the general vision. And so I don't want to say too much, but we have like some things planned and people asking about a restock. Like we kind of are doing like a one and done, like this colorway, like this shirt is sold out. It's done. So we'll be dropping something new in a little while and we'll start promoting that soon. But it's just been a really, really fun project. And I have honestly we have learned so much. Like we're learning right now, like we're getting charged for shipping, like more than we thought we were going to. Just so many things that you kind of aren't going to learn unless you kind of throw yourself into the fire. And it's really great and it's really exciting and I'm kind of really excited for what's next, right? Like we made this Instagram account not really like without much like thought behind it and it's like it has 700 followers and all we've done is like collab with a few posts that like we have done ourselves. And so I think that there's the potential to kind of make something really special there like and kind of create that kind of community or something. So it's something that we're kind of thinking about, and we have some tentative plans. But we're so excited, and we're so encouraged, and we're really so like kind of touched, honestly, too, just by like everyone supporting us. Like we had 49 orders in 1 minute. That's insane. We actually had 45 right at 12, and I was trying to record a video. Rachel's playing, and like I kind of flubbed it, so then it turned to 12:01. I was like, oh, okay, 12:01. Like that still looks pretty sick. But just really so amazing, and we've learned so much, like I said, and like a few other like pros like bought them, and that's just like the sweetest thing. So
It is. Deckle,
yeah.
I saw, bought one. And anyway, it was so cute. And I think there's so many different things that you could do with it, but it's just starting a business of your own and having that business mindset on like, how can we get the community engaged? What can we sell? When do we drop it? What's the release schedule like? All of those things come into play. But I think your social has been really awesome. I love the way that you guys promoted it so far. So
Yeah, thank you. It's just kind of like building a brand like outside of me and like Rachel. It's kind of like a fun thing, and it's like, what is this going to be? Because it could be something like really great, and it's something that like is lacking in pickleball. Like I don't think many people have tried to build a brand beyond themselves. Like Tyson obviously has a really strong brand, but the brand is Tyson. I think Connor Garnett is like the only one who's kind of truly done it with like the Tui Nation thing.
yep.
But I think we have the ability to kind of, do that and kind of do it really well.
Yeah, I agree. And you have all the contacts that you need. So I think it's off to a great start. You're going to be competing with Lipping, with Pickle Peacock.
She is truly so sweet. She's so cute. So we did we announced that we were going to be doing it. This is before the drop. And I live like 20 minutes from my parents. So I'm there pretty often. I get my packages sent there and everything because I'm gone so much. And I'm there, and she's like, I'm just going to sell like what I have, like and everything. She's like, do you want me to like not make anything with you on it anymore? Because people like are so sweet, like buying the stuff for my mom, but like I don't see any of that. Like she just profits off my name, image, and likeness, which is fine. I don't care one bit, but it is funny. It is like a funny thing. But I was like, no, mommy, like you're fine. Like whatever. I was like, maybe just don't make things that say like the girlies or whatever. She goes, yeah, I already took that off my website. Like, don't worry. And I was like, that was so sweet and thoughtful. Like she didn't need to do that, so she's so sweet. She's really like happy and like proud, honestly. And like, I wasn't expecting her to like be proud, but there's really no better feeling than like, making your parents proud. So I'm very excited.
I love it. I love you and Rachel, and so many people do. So I think it's great. So you're obviously partnered with Rachel. Who are you partnering with Mix for this year?
Mix is kind of a mix. Like I'm just looking for my guy. I have like one or two more with Hayden, but we kind of feel like it just doesn't work. I don't know why. It's kind of like me and Hayden at MLP, me and Hayden at PPAs. Like it's just, I don't know why, but we haven't been like having like me and H are like such good friends. Like we haven't even been having that much fun in practice. And so we were talking about it. We were like, we had two together. We're like, maybe we'll just get rid of one of those and like have no pressure in the other one. I just don't know why. It just doesn't seem to work, which is a shame because I think that Hayden is like so good, and I think that he's one of the guys that has like the best chance to like beat Ben and Annalie because he's so manipulative, like such a high ceiling. But I just don't know if that's going to be with me. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to work that well, and I think that chemistry, like on-court chemistry and mixed, is like more important than it is in gender, just because it's a much messier, more spastic game, with how much the guy's gonna take or not take. So I think it's really important. So I have like two more with Hayden right now. I do think we're gonna get rid of one of them though, funny enough. And then I have one with Kwong and one with Federico. I have next two coming up with Declan. I actually have one with J-Dub. So I'm really all over the place. And I think I might have I have one with Dylan if the PPA Houston ends up happening. I think I'll play that one with him. I feel like the partners I've had like the most on-court chemistry with though so far is like Dylan and Andre.
Dylan, you could tell that chemistry was amazing.
Yeah, and like people didn't see us, pickleball moves so fast, but in 2022, obviously the level was different then, but Dylan and I were like 5 for 5, 6 for 6 on medaling. Including at one PPA at the end of the year. And so for whatever reason, I feel like it's kind of like the sum is greater than the parts. And so I'm excited to, obviously we did win Milwaukee. I don't even think we played that well in Milwaukee. I think rarely were we both playing well at the same time, honestly, but like we just kind of scrap our way through somehow. And I really enjoyed playing with Andre too. And so I want to kind of give those a try. I think it would be kind of surprising to people in some ways if I were to choose to like play a lot with Dylan, but for whatever reason, like it works. We play well in practice together too. So I'm excited for my tournament with him. Hopefully it ends up happening.
I love that. You almost can't, yeah. You definitely shouldn't care what other people think in this way. And it's like whatever you feel most comfortable and confident in. Like you said, you're a competitor, so you can make the sum of the parts greater. And I think that's
and I've also kind of realized like I have a lot of different partners, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I really should just like commit to like one person and really like try it out. But like I've done that in mixed, and on the one hand, like everyone wants to win ASAP. Everyone is so like, what's right in front of them. But it's also like, if I'm playing pro pickleball for like 5 more years, like it's okay if I have a few subpar tournaments by my standard, like as I'm figuring things out, like to find something that really like does work. So that's kind of where my headspace is at right now. Like obviously James and I were like a really good team, but we had like some ups and downs too. So it's not like, we were a really good team. So just kind of trying to figure out who my man is.
Okay. If Anna Leigh asked you to play, would you drop Rachel?
This is so messy. Maybe I've already gotten that ask. We don't know. I definitely couldn't and wouldn't share. But as of right now, like, no. I feel like Rachel and I are playing like so well together. Like, yes, we did lose to Annalie and Kaitlyn in the last 2 matches, but we lost in 4. I honestly think we should have won game 4 in both matches. Like, there's no maybe about it. We 100% should have. And I love playing with Rachel. We have made like so many consecutive finals. We have only lost to that team, since like May of last year. So there's really no reason to. And I think that even if we don't beat Annalie and Kaitlyn that many times this year, like I definitely want to. It's not something I'd be shy to say. I definitely want to. That is the goal. That's the vision. That's the mission. But there's an aspect of playing with Annalie that is inherently like, you are going to be in her shadow. And like, I couldn't do this, if I was playing with Annalie. And that's just a fact, and, all these questions that are being asked of Kaitlyn and even of Ben, like, what would they be without Annalie? It's like, I would like to kind of make my own way in the sport, but also winning is super important. I want to win a lot. But Rachel and I are winning. We have so much fun together. I've said it before, like there's no, like of all the women I've played with, she's my favorite to win with. She's my favorite to lose with, even though Rachel is actually a terrible loser. Rachel is such a sore loser. She's probably the sorest loser I've met. Like whenever they've started doing these loser interviews, she's always just like completely dead silent. And like Niche will come over, whoever will come over, be like, hey, like, we're doing an interview. I'm so sorry. And I'll be like, how many questions are you going to ask? They'll be like 2. I was like, only ask me. Like she's just quiet. So like I handle all our losers interviews. Hopefully we don't have to do too many more. But it's also something to be proud of. Like when I say that, like they're doing loser interviews in the finals now, and it's like making the final when you lose. It's definitely not a good feeling to lose in a final and in your tournament with a loss. Do I sound like Christian Alshon? But it is still something to be proud of, And I feel like if I had a good tournament, if my only losses were to Annalie, if I lost to someone else, I not that it isn't a good tournament, but there's a little more to like think about, But if I only lost to Annalie, like honestly, it's a good freaking tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I think you and Rachel you've beaten the best. Annalie and Kaitlyn have been at the top of the women's for a very long time, and you guys beat them multiple times. It's not a fluke. I love your.
And we're right there in our losses too.
Yeah,
like we're right there in our losses. Like we just need to kind of get over that hump a little bit. But
what do you think
it's really
it
fun.
Is about Annalie that makes her so dominating? Do you think I think it's kind of her anticipation is next level. Obviously, she has a lot of shots, powerful, super athletic. But what do you think it is?
I think she is. I think there's a whole list of things. I think if you were to list like 100 skills, if there were 100 skills in pickleball, Annalie would probably be the best at like 80 of them. Like it's her dominance is insane. I don't want people to think that I'm just glazing her and like thinking that, oh, like I can't beat her, like she's God. Like, no, I don't think that. I do think I could beat her. I have beaten her more than anyone else in the last few years, which is not often, but I have beaten her in mixed twice in like 2.5 years. Proud, you know, but like in women's too, like, and I don't think that. I just am a realist also. And she has been playing since she was a kid. There are not many people who have played since they were a kid. She didn't play much tennis. She played some tennis, but she didn't play much. She's like a pure pickleball athlete. Perfect training situation with her mom, being a pro, being willing to do whatever she needs to make her better. Like you really cannot underestimate the significance of a parent's dedication, I think, to like a child becoming great at sports. Like I had that with my dad. Like we did not have the money for me to go to academies or anything, but like if you have a parent that is familiar with the sport and is willing to spend the time, which obviously, you know, Leigh and Steven are very willing to, is so clear. Like they're amazing. Like you can't underestimate that advantage. And she is naturally so talented, unreal hand-eye, unreal athlete. I think soccer is so good for kids, like to develop footwork and everything. Like her footwork is unbelievable. She has so much power. She has maybe the most power, probably does have the most power out of every woman. I think Georgia is probably more powerful in some situations, but you can't really necessarily say that she's more powerful than Leigh. Like her anticipation is the best. She's been seeing the game since she was 11 years old. You can't like, I'm trying to build like the neural network that she has, but I'm an adult. It's just different, you know? So, and she has every shot and she's a hard worker and she still has a perfect training situation. You know, she obviously has Leigh and then, you know, she's able to practice probably with Christian a lot and like other situations. Like it's just kind of this perfect storm for her to be great. And she's a great competitor. She wills her way to victory. Yes. We see that a lot, you know, and there are not many people who can do that. I feel like I can do that like sometimes, especially in women's, but not even close to the extent that she can, you know, not that I'm saying she's a better competitor than me, but she just has the ability to really take over a women's match like no other woman really has. And she can take over a mixed match too. We've seen it many times when Ben isn't playing his best and their backs are against the wall. And she just kind of makes things happen. And it's very impressive. I'm not going to say it's not annoying, but it's, I'm definitely very, very, like Leigh is freaking good. She is. She's kind of a wonder child, honestly.
She is. It's so impressive what she has been able to do.
Like it's unreal. And like I was at a lunch with someone the other day and they were like, but tennis players are going to come in and they're going to start beating Leigh in singles, right? Like these and I was like, honestly, no. I was like, he was like, people are going to like whoop her. And I was like, no one is whooping Leigh Waters. Some people may come in who can become as good, but like, I don't even honestly, I think it's almost like a Simone Biles situation. Like I'm glazing hard right now, but it's like I don't think that some people realize like how special that this girl is. It's like it's like there may never be someone better, honestly. There will be, but I'm specifically talking about women's singles. Like every pro female has had a match against Leigh. When you honestly feel like you played well, I'm specifically talking about singles right now. I think singles is actually her best event because it's only her. You feel like you played well and you lose 2-0. Everyone has had this experience. It is so humbling. So when people say like these tennis players are going to come in and beat Leigh at singles, I think it's more likely people catch her in doubles. Mm-hmm. The singles is a joke. Her singles is a joke. Like I've had to coach Kate against her a few times and I'm just like, girl, your best bet is like get on your knees and pray. Like this is. And she doesn't always redline like that, but when she redlines, oh, it's like insane. It's insanity.
I actually thought we did this weird little podcast that never aired, but it was like with me, Zane, Maddie Pickles, and Eric Tice. And we were ranking pros, not based on their current rankings, but just taking every single pro, regardless if they're playing PPA, APP overseas, and we're ranking them for each division. I put Kate in second in singles, and everyone was like, oh my God, all these other people are some like, you know, she doesn't have, you know, the matches, and Brooke is better, and Kaitlyn Christian's. And I actually think Kate is extremely athletic. She is one of the craziest competitors I know. And, you know, people don't know that she's one of the best tennis players out of anyone that's played pickleball.
She is.
And So anyway, long story short, I thought that she had the ability to maybe beat Annalie if anyone else didn't. And
I do think she does. I totally think she could beat Annalie. I think there's a
yeah,
lot of women who can,
but
like
consistently over time.
consistently, like and like to like whoop her, like that guy I had lunch with, like no.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Is there any rule in pickleball you would change?
I think that the PPA has implemented a silly rule where now you can cross the plane of the net even if you don't touch the ball. I think that is a dumb rule. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now there's very little consequence. You can have like wild body. You don't have to like control your body if you go to Ernie. So that is a rule I think is dumb. I don't know why they implemented that. There was no problem. It's just confusing. It's a confusing differentiation from USA Pickleball and how rec pickleball is played. I don't like that. Other than that though, like I don't really love the switch to side out scoring at MLP. That would be one that I am not particularly a fan of. Have I played it yet? No. I also dislike the current rules. This is getting pretty nitty gritty. I don't know if you're, I guess anyone listening to this podcast is probably a bit into the nitty gritty, but having 3 men and 3 women on an MLP team, I think is fine. I do wish unsigned players could play. But I understand it. I understand the decision, but I dislike that only 2 men and 2 women can play a match. Like if I have 3 men and 3 women to a team, why can't I have a single specialist or someone who only plays men's doubles, and you can still set the lineup the night before as they want to have. So, they can kind of, if they want to implement gambling, it's better and everything. But like you have 3 men and 3 women, like why shouldn't you be able to like draft as such? Most teams would probably still choose to play 2 men and 2 women, but I 100% think if you have those players, like we should have the option to have, to have specialists to an extent. So that is a decision I don't like. And then the other thing that I think right now their rules with unsigned, like if you're top 50, you can't play qualifying, but then like you can't play main draw. Like
you have to go
that
play
is confusing
challenger
to me.
level. You basically have to go play the challenger series, right? And
It's confusing. It's confusing to me. I think that could be sorted out, and I totally understand that they want to promote players who are signed, but I also do think that, if you're good, you're good.
Suck. Half of the players that are signed suck. And so they're just
and it's like if you're good, you're good, and you should, be able to play if you have a good partner. So that is something that I personally disagree with. I understand that it's a business and everything, and I don't make the decisions, I don't write the checks, but it's something that, I hope that they revisit.
Yeah, there's so much talent coming in, but there's still a lot of people that are signed that are still so bad, and then a lot of people that took buyouts or not signed and are so good. And I also thought the same thing. I thought it would be really cool to have a single specialist. I'm really interested to see what most teams do now, that you can only play.
Because right now you can't do that. Like I hope that they reconsider that, because if teams have to field 6 people, like why shouldn't you be able to draft someone who's really good at singles and they just play the dream breaker and that's all they do?
Well, that's what I thought. I think from a team perspective, number one, that means you're going to have to be traveling 2 more players to each event, and you're going to have to pay for hotel, all of that stuff, flights, yada, yada. And if they don't play, whatever. I know that a lot of teams said that they may draft people that are in their local communities or are the players that are going to be doing more of the in-person events at like local activations for, say, a Duper event or a Play Pro event. Somebody actually gave me the idea. They're like, you should just ask to be on, like, get signed for basically nothing, play on the New Jersey Fives, and just like go around and preach the New Jersey Fives. I was like, it's not a bad idea. Like if you can't play and you're only going to have, 4 people play each match, draft somebody in your local community that is signed that can go off and do that. And like from a business perspective of a team, that makes sense. But if you want the best product,
right. I hope they revisit that rule. Like, and you can designate, this person play mixed and singles, this person play men's, like whatever, because I don't feel like it's that much of an operational overhaul either. Like you can still submit, the lineups the night before and everything. So that is something that I do not really fully understand. And also, it's like you said, operationally, or for these teams, like you're flying out, you're paying for that many more meals. Like I also think as a player, like it totally changes the dynamic. Like 4 people is kind of easy to do with. Like every team is different, but kind of how the shock does things. Like we were kind of like on our own, and like I would drive everyone around. Like we would hang out a lot. 4 is easy. 6 is tough. You can't easily fit like 6 people hanging out together in a hotel room. Like you can just show up to a restaurant with 4 people. Showing up with 6 is like, do we need a reservation? Like just things just get a little more complicated in a lot of ways. I feel like 4 is an easy number. 6 is really not. So not that that's like anything anyone is thinking about, but it's just something that I have kind of thought about a little bit. Like I think that some of the magic of my team last year was like the chemistry, the chemistry, the chemistry. It's like I just don't see it being the same with 6 people. Honestly, like I don't see it being the same.
I just have to say that I was very, very sad at the MLP championships. I really thought your team was going to do it. I had called you guys from the start, but
Yeah, it's a
wasn't
shame,
to be.
but
Wasn't to be.
it's a shame we didn't all show up when we all needed to, like, and that's how it goes, that's how it goes. And
Sports.
really kudos to the Flash and the Fives. They ended up putting on like such a great show. It was awesome
So
to
much
watch.
fun. You are known for picking out players before they peak. Are there any up and coming pros or players that you have an eye on?
Um, I think I have a much better eye for female talent than I do for male talent, which obviously I am a woman, so it would kind of make sense, but I don't think I have like a great eye on the male side. Like I didn't think Max Freeman would be very good. He's turned out to be very good. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some women on I mean, everyone is kind of on Sophia Suing right now. I've been kind of on her
I've
maybe
been on
earlier.
her.
I've been on her maybe earlier than a lot of people have, but like everyone's on her. Like it's not like a secret or anything. But there's not really anyone that is signed to a UPA contract that I am like so super high on. I think there are some women I've seen that are good, but much my knowledge time. I actually think Jeannie Bouchard could be really good if she kind of like. I do think she's getting better. I think she likes it. I think she's practicing. But if she really like locked in, I think she could be very good. I think
Yeah.
she's talented. She is very athletic, and I
She's
think things are
developed.
kind of starting. She's starting to figure things out, right? But if she just played more, like trained more, I think that would accelerate that process. But it makes sense that with her life right now, that's kind of not where she's at. But I've really enjoyed watching Jeannie improve because I feel like when she first came into pickleball, she was really lost. Like she didn't really want to be there to an extent. Like she kind of was like, ugh. But now it's like you can tell she likes it. She's kind of friends with some people, and you could just see that she's enjoying herself. And that's really cool to see. It's like she gradually got good enough, not through like trying to, but just through being forced to play these tournaments, that she gradually got good enough to where now she wins some matches and like she's having fun. And I have really enjoyed kind of seeing that because just like I love pickleball, like I don't want to see someone like not loving it. It's like, you want people to love the things that you love. So, and Jeannie's really sweet. I've had a few like conversations with her. I did like that celebrity pro-am with her in Dallas. It's funny. I did that with her at Worlds, and she followed me after, and I immediately texted Megan to thought. I was like, oh my God, Jeannie followed me. She liked me. And Megan was like, yeah, she thought you were cool. And I was like, oh my God. she liked me. So Jeannie, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
That is hilarious.
I do feel like Jeannie's been unlucky, and she's drawn me a few times lately, but I like her a lot, and it's been cool to like see her get better, and I think she is talented, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily like put her in a class of like I did like a Kate or a Rachel or like a Glossman.
Yeah.
Like it's like I do think she could get really good, but like I saw those girls as like potentially like so, but I do think Jeannie is like one of the people who's currently not like a top player who I see a lot of potential in.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Sophia Suing, I played with her in India overseas in October, and I saw it right from the start. Like her raw talent is unbelievable, and she wants to win, and she is willing to put in work. So right then and there, I told her at that tournament, I was like, number one, you could compete at the highest level on PPA singles right now. Doubles needs a little work, but she's willing to put in that time and effort. And now everyone's like, oh my God, Sophia Suing. And it is like we should sign her. But okay. There was an article recently that came out saying women pickleball players are making more than WNBA players and many other female sports. What has been your biggest purchase so far?
I bought a house. I'm
You
closing like February 13th or 14th. Yeah, so I've been dealing with that whole process. I bought, it's a 3-bed, 2.5 bath townhome. And I'm very
I'm so
excited
happy for
because
you.
thank you so much because since the breakup, it's just funny. It's like this big thing. It's like in lettering across like the breakup. I have been living at my best friend's house. That's where I am now. Like I'm really
Yeah.
lucky to have like such a good and close like friend and everything. So I've been living here. The house has been like it's pretty much just been me, and so it's been awesome. But I finally found a place that I liked enough and that I was willing to kind of spend some change on and everything. So I'm super excited. So that would be my biggest purchase. But I don't spend too much money. Like I don't really like nice things. Like I don't really like designer things or anything. Like I like Lululemon sometimes. And I definitely, my biggest thing, I think for me, like the biggest like blessing of pickleball, like so many, but this is like a small, it's not the biggest, but it's like, I love that if I go into a coffee shop and I think two pastries look good, I get both of them. Like I don't choose. And that is like something that I am really thankful for and that always makes me like feel really thankful. Like it's a small thing, but it's like something that does make me feel very grateful whenever I like have that indecision. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna get both. So yeah, I'm super, super thankful. Definitely like I'm not like super into designer stuff or whatever. And, I cut my own hair. I don't know if we're including that or not, but very, very, very lucky on the
I
whole.
think that's awesome. I think it is the little things in life that you do every day that makes such a bigger difference than like a one-time purchase of a bag that like sits in your house for 364
It just
days.
depends. Like for some people that is like, what they love and everything. And that's awesome. Like great, that's awesome. And like all the more power to you. But like for me, that doesn't really
Yeah.
kind of resonate. I hope I don't develop that kind of like impulse. It's an expensive thing to like. Like
Yeah.
Rachel just bought like her first, like her only designer bag, and I tried it on. I was like, ooh, like I kind of like this. It's like, why? So then she showed me how much it cost, and I was like, oh, it's not even like that crazy expensive. I was like, oh, I don't really want to develop a taste for things like this.
Oh gosh, yes. It is as you grow older, you're always ever evolving, you're ever changing. There's so many things that come in and out of your life that you'll have to spend money on, but I think it's good. It's awesome that you bought a house. I know you were debating whether or not to stay in Florida, so seems like you'll be there and more people are moving down there. Ben's moving down there now.
I know, yeah, it's awesome. I think that one reason I kind of did decide I wanted to stay is because so many people were moving and like I felt like socially like my cup was full here because it's not like I wouldn't choose to be 25 here if not for pickleball, but like I have so many friends here now that like I'm like socially like my cup is very full, and so more like I'm having a lot of fun.
I love it. All right, you have accomplished so much in your time in pickleball and you're still so young. Do you have any goals you want to accomplish in the next, say, 5 years?
um Love to get wifed up. uh um Pickleball goals, like not really too much in regards like as like a pickleball player. Like I do want to obviously like win more titles, like, beat Leigh, like Lee's like that kind of like benchmark. It's like I never tell people I want to be better than her. People like want me to say that and it's like that would be amazing. That would be so amazing, but like I just don't know if that's like really possible. But I can keep closing that gap. Like that gap can be closed, and it could where like I win more often, right? So like that's something that people like want me to say, and it's just not something that I'm like ever gonna say like per se. Like that would be amazing. I guess that's like the dream, but it's not like I'm gonna be disappointed if I don't hit that. So I want to win more this year, and I want me and Rachel to kind of become that like number one team. But that's like more short term. In 5 years, we'll see. Hold off the kids as long as I can. And I want to learn Chinese. That is something that I do think is super doable. Like I think if I can just memorize like 5 words a day, like I could get there. Within like a year or so. Like I especially like kind of unlock parts of my brain from when I was a child. And then I think a big goal of mine in 2025 is just kind of like do more. And I feel like I've been doing that. And I think it kind of goes along with this like positive momentum and everything, like stuff with the girlies, like the girlies I'm like very excited about and kind of working on building out that community, like building out this like brand and I kind of see it as kind of like a movement to an extent. Like I kind of see it as like potentially be like kind of like daddy gang like call her daddy daddy gang. Like that's kind of like the vibe and kind of the thing that I would like to like kind of create to an extent. So that's something I'm really passionate about. And so I don't know. I have no real good, clean, concise answer. I'm not really someone who thinks in terms of like hypotheticals too much and kind of like in that way, I kind of realized that about myself in college. People talk about like, oh, like what would you do if you could do whatever? Like, or that, like, I don't know. I'm pretty good where I'm at. So, yeah, I don't know. Don't have a super clean answer, but would love to get wifed up.
Okay. What are you most proud of so far in your life?
What am I most proud of? Um, this is like those hypotheticals. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think I am honestly really, really proud of kind of the like who I am and like what I've accomplished. I think I generally do think very highly of myself, and I think that in that, like, I'm really proud that I'm so lucky, but I am have been successful enough, and I hope it should continue, but that I can kind of like do a lot for my family. I think a lot of tennis players come from like a lot of money, and I don't want to, like, family's not like broke or anything, but like I've definitely been able to help a lot, and I that is something that I am like really like very proud of, and like
Love that.
my mom can, I can bring her to tournaments and she can lose money selling peacock shirts and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like things like that. So I'd say I'm very, very proud of that.
I love that. It's a great answer. All right, you had a very public relationship that ended, and this is a very
I
special
actually gotta
episode.
go. I actually do have to go soon, but all right, let's go.
This is a
The
very special
breakup.
episode because we have Valentine's Day coming up, and I would consider you the most eligible bachelorette. Have you ever thought about going on The Bachelorette? I may or may not submit
Oh
your
my
info.
gosh. Brooks Jones, love Brooks. He did not tell me to go on The Bachelorette, but he did tell me that I am the most eligible bachelorette in pickleball. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Have I ever considered it? No, I have never thought about that. That's a crazy thought. I had never thought about that. I have thought about going on Survivor, maybe if that would be something that would be fun to do, or like The Amazing Race or like something like that. But The Bachelor, Bachelorette, I've never thought about it, but I don't think I could do it. Like, I think I'd be like, this is so stupid. Like, I don't think I could do it. It's funny. I have not watched The Bachelor, Bachelorette in so long, but I was just sitting at home yesterday, not doing anything, and I turned it on and it was on, and I literally texted Kate Fahey this, and it was on, and I was watching it, and it was like, it's like The Bachelor. So there's one man and like 20 women, and I texted Kate. I was like, why is watching like 20 women fight over one man like feel degrading and stupid? It's like, I don't want to watch this, but watching like one woman pick between like 20 men is like, yes, like go off, queen. I was like, I don't want to watch 20 women like fight over this idiot, but like the inverse is like awesome. So it's kind of funny.
Oh my God. I was like, I should apply Anna at some point. That would be
So
fun.
maybe I could be like the Bachelorette, but I don't think I could do like fighting over the
Yeah.
man.
No
Like it would
one's
just be too.
worthy. No one's
It would
worthy.
just be like it's not even that. It'd just be too stupid. Like it'd just be like, what are we even doing here? Like what are we doing?
Yeah, I agree. Are you back out there dating?
Um, yeah, but like I'm not really in a rush, and I feel like I don't really like have a strong foundation with anyone outside of pickleball, and I don't want to do like the dating app thing. And because it's like, oh, like I meet someone, I match, but then it's like, oh yeah, bye, gone 2 weeks, like don't even know you. Like, what are we gonna do? Talk for 2 weeks or something? Or like kind of like having that like trust in someone. So it's not something I'm like rushing at all. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that, I think. Like, and I think staying within pickleball again, like if I were to do it again, I would keep it much more private and low key. Not that I think I did anything wrong, but definitely a lot of lessons learned and everything. And so, yeah, I would say that's what I have to say about that.
Okay. I know there are a lot of single men going to be listening to this episode. Are there any qualities you look for? I mean, anything specific that you're like, I like a guy that's tall, blue eyes,
My mom likes blue eyes.
6'5", blue eyes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. 6'5", blue eyes. So for me, like, not really, honestly. I tend to like longer hair. I tend to like kind of like not like long hair, but like kind of like some flow, you know? Like
Okay.
I tend to prefer that. That's generally my type. Tend to prefer brunettes to blondes. This is all tendencies, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is malleable, but I do tend to prefer like brunettes. I tend to like a little flow. Is kind of more so that's been my type like historically. Other than that, like athletic, I like my athletes.
Smart. Does that matter?
Yeah, like smart, like witty. I think I'm pretty like sharp
Yeah.
generally, so I definitely need someone who could like kind of like
Keep up.
hang and like challenge me and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much to say. You know, the other things are all like basic things that anyone would say. So that's all I have to offer on that.
All right. Well, it's Valentine's Day. I hope someone takes you out. Even if you go out with your girlfriends or your parents, it's always good to feel the love from people you love. So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Before we finish, we have to have my favorite part of every episode say, talk pickle to me in the sexiest way possible.
Talk pickle to me, baby.
Woo!
Okay.
You heard it here first from Anna Bright. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Talk Pickle to Me. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Instagram at Talk Pickle to Me. Make sure you're following Anna Bright. Make sure you're following the Girlies. What are your handles?
At annabright.pb and the girlies at the Girlies Pickleball Club.
At the Girlies Pickleball Club. Make sure you're getting her drops and come back for the next episode. New episodes drop every single Wednesday. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome.